Welcome to this brief guided tour of ReadingSounds 1 Pro by ReadingDoctor software. It's recommended that you watch the theoretical overview and teaching mechanism videos before you watch this video. Once you're in the program, just click on this red tick to get started. This is the Login New Student screen from which you can load existing student files or create new ones. Notice this help box at the bottom. If you put your mouse over something, then that help box will display information about that particular object in the game. You'll also notice that when you first run the program, I'll give you some instructions regarding that particular screen. You can turn those instructions on and off by pressing this help button. This is the login screen. I've previously created a student file, so I'll click on that one and press this red tick to log into the program. This is the main menu screen from which you can access the various activities and features of ReadingSounds 1 Pro. For more information about these different areas, please click on the Help button in the top right of the screen to hear an explanation. This explanation will also give you some tips about in which order you should teach these skills. To demonstrate the way that the activities are set up, and also to show you the basic teaching mechanism in the program, I'll start with the letter sounds activity. All of the activity menus in ReadingSounds 1 Pro include a number of default activities which you can load by clicking on one of these blue buttons. Let's load a letter sounds vowels activity. The objective of this activity is to teach students the sounds that the letters A, O, E, U, and I typically represent in written English. The targets to be learnt by the student are presented in this matrix of tiles. The objective of this activity is for the student to learn the sounds that the letters A, O, E, U, and I typically represent in written English. You'll notice that at this maximum level of scaffolding support, the targets to be identified by the student are presented as visual mnemonics which are designed to help the student form a connection between something that they already know and the target that they're attempting to learn. To get started, the student clicks this little green man.
Can you find O, like in orange? Can you find A, like in apple?
The program presents the student with the targets to be identified, adjusting the unique multisensory scaffolding support system based on student performance for each target.
Find O, like in orange. A, like in umbrella. A, like in apple. Superb. I, like in insect. I, like in insect. A, like in.
As the student gets the answers right, the level of multisensory scaffolding support fades away until the target to be learnt is presented without any assistance whatsoever.
A.
When a certain target score is achieved, that particular target is eliminated from the game so the student doesn't waste time practicing skills that have already been established.
I, like in E, like in egg. E, E, E.
If a mistake is made,
I, like in insect. You found I, like in insect. Can you find E, like in egg?
the level of multisensory scaffolding support for the target that the student incorrectly identified is reset to its maximum level, as is the scaffolding support for the tile that the student was supposed to identify. Notice that following an error, the program presents the target as a simple picture matching task.
I, like in insect. I, like in insect. I, I. E, like in.
Good job.
A, like in umbrella. A. O, like in. E, like in egg. You found E, like in egg. Can you find O, like in orange?
This unique ability to identify visual and auditory discrimination difficulties means that the student spends more time
like
practicing targets that are difficult and less time practicing targets that are already easy.
O, like in E, A. O, like in orange. Superb job. O, E, E, O.
Once all of the targets have been successfully identified, the student has completed this game.
Nice work. You're in third place.
I'll go back to the letter sounds menu to demonstrate how it's possible to adjust activities to meet the individual needs of the student. You'll notice that next to the default activities are a number of option boxes which help you to adjust the way the activities work. For example, it's possible to turn the multisensory scaffolding support system off at the beginning of an activity. To demonstrate the effect of this, I'll load the same vowels activity up again.
Find the letter sounds as fast as you can. Can you find I?
So this time the activity is loaded without any multisensory scaffolding support.
Can you find I? Find A.
Notice that if the student makes a mistake,
A, like in apple. You found A, like in apple. Can you find A, like in umbrella?
the multisensory scaffolding support comes back for the confused target pair.
Like in apple. E. Do you want to?
It's also possible to manually adjust the multisensory scaffolding system for each individual target. By clicking this manual button in the scoring option box, it's possible to adjust the start and end scores for each target. For example, if I increase the start score to 7 and leave the end score on 8, the student will only need to provide one correct response to eliminate that particular target from the game. If the student makes a mistake, the student will need to provide 8 consecutive correct responses to eliminate that target from the game next time. The best way to get familiar with this manual scoring adjustment of tiles is to try some activities yourself with various settings. You can always press this question mark if you're not sure about what an option box does.
The manual button in this box to manually adjust the
If you'd like to specify exactly which targets are included in an activity, use the Custom Activity function. Using the Custom Activity screen, it's possible to specify exactly which targets to include in an activity. So for example, if you want to teach letter sounds in a particular order, let's say for example the order that Jollyphonics proposes, you simply click on the tiles to be included and click on this tick button to load an activity with those selected tiles. To take the tiles away, just simply click on them again. It's also possible to make adjustments to the multisensory scaffolding support system using this scoring adjustment feature. It's possible to save the configuration that you created using this Save button. Just enter a name for this particular list and press this tick button to save it. Next time you're in this custom tile selection screen, press the Load button to load the list that you created. The lists that you create can be printed by pressing this Print button. Let's say I wanted to create a letter sounds activity for a very low level student. So to clear these existing tiles from the screen, I press this Clear All button. I might just choose 2 letters to include in the activity. Then I might adjust the end score so that the student only has to get the answer right twice in order to eliminate the tiles from the game. I'll keep the start score at 0 so that the student is provided with maximum scaffolding support for both targets. Then I press this tick to load the game. ReadingSounds 1 Pro creates an activity based on my requirements.
Can you find T, like in tap? Can you find T, like in tap? Do you want to stop the game?
blending menu contains a number of preset blending activities. So this top button represents CVC words, in other words, words with consonant-vowel-consonant structure. I'll go ahead and load one of the blending activities to show you how the teaching mechanism works. ReadingSounds 1 Pro uses its unique, self-adjusting, multisensory scaffolding support system to teach children how to successfully use their letter sound knowledge to blend words when reading.
Can you find b-a-s? Bus. The bus is red. Bus. Can you find d-ip? Dip. You can dip the biscuit in the bowl.
Initially, the program provides the student with maximum support, but as the student provides correct answers, this level of support fades away.
Dip. Find b-a-s. Bus. B-o-x. Box. I wonder what's in the box. Box. D-ip. Dip. Way to go. B-o-x. Box.
The program gradually guides the student through the activity, requiring more and more of the student as it goes on.
D-ip. Dip. B-o-x. Box. B-a-s. Bus.
So for this particular tile, for example, we've answered it correctly 3 times, so the program will no longer sound the letters out for us. But a visual cue is provided to help us remember. B-o-x makes box.
Box.
B-a-s makes bus.
Bus.
And at this final level, no support is provided.
Box. Bus. Dip. Dip. Superb. Excellent job. You're in first place.
Why, thank you. Just like in the letter sounds activities, it's possible to exercise a lot of control over the blending games. You can change the number of words to be included in a blending activity by adjusting this number option box. You can also change the vocabulary level of the activity. So for example, level 1 words are very high frequency words like cat and slip, whereas changing the vocabulary setting to level 2 will include low frequency words like ram and trot, or it's also possible to have a combination of both. ReadingSounds 1 Pro also enables you to specify exactly which type of words to include in a blending activity. This can be achieved through the custom activity function. From this custom word selection screen, it's possible to specify exactly the word patterns that you'd like to include in your blending activity. These question marks represent wildcards, and these fields represent positions in words. So, for this particular word type, CVC words, we obviously need a vowel in this middle position, so I'll say that I want a letter A there. So ReadingSounds 1 Pro generates a list of CVC words with the letter A in the middle. We can be more specific if we want to. So for example, I could specify that I want a list of at words. Up to 8 different word patterns can be specified in this way. So I could, for example, combine at words with an words. To change the type of word that's being included in the blending activity, click on the Word Type button. So for example, I could select CCVC words starting with the letter S, or I could be more specific and say that I want CCVC words starting with the ST consonant blend, like in stab and stem and step. I can print my lists by pressing the Print button, and I can change the number of words to be included in the activity by pressing this Tiles button. Just like in the letter sounds activities, you can load and save these custom lists, and you can make adjustments to the multisensory scaffolding support system. To play the activity that you've created, simply click the tick button. An activity with the particular word patterns that you specified has been created for the student.
Can you find stem? A stem is what holds up a flower.